I think what's interesting about our job and what gets us out of bed every morning is that no 2 days are the same, and
Very
no
true.
2 cases are the same.
Very true.
And there can be all sorts of complex scenarios in the background that need resolving as part of the overall solution.
Absolutely.
I suppose I was just thinking the other day about that. The guy who had the sort of mini industrial estate. That,
Yes.
There's all sorts of things going on in the background there, aren't there? Divorces and Law of Property Act receivers being appointed and liquidations going on and
Absolutely.
petitioning creditors from builders, merchants, and there's a real tangle to get through.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think the two big challenges there were the fact that the gentleman was in the throes of quite an acrimonious divorce. Mm-hmm. His soon-to-be ex-wife was not particularly in a cooperative mood when he first approached us. Mm-hmm. And we spent a lot of time liaising with her and her solicitors. Mm-hmm. to try to really explain the full extent of the financial issues involved and how it would really benefit her even. Mm-hmm. to cooperate with realising money from the various properties that they own jointly. Mm-hmm. Because it would maximise the return to her clearly if there were sensible sales which mm-hmm. everybody cooperated with. Mm-hmm. But it also maximised the funds coming in to deal with her husband's debts. Mm-hmm. As far as the petitioning creditor was concerned, as you say, that was a large builders merchants firm, actually centrally based in Scotland. Mm-hmm. Although their lawyers were based in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And we liaised with both the creditor themselves and their lawyers. Mm-hmm. To really understand what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. from a recovery process. Mm-hmm. And it did actually transpire that while they were owed more than £200,000, mm-hmm. And it wasn't absolutely certain that the gentleman would have enough asset base to clear that debt and all his other debt. Mm-hmm. By talking to them, it became clear that they would accept a little less than 100p in the pound, but still be happy to conclude on that basis and walk away. Mm-hmm. So we were then able to structure the proposal to creditors across the board. Mm-hmm. to suit the requirements of the principal creditor. Mm-hmm. And because of the size of their vote. Mm-hmm. at the meeting, where obviously we need 75% by value. Mm-hmm. We knew that because we've got them on side. Mm-hmm. That was likely to be acceptable. Mm-hmm. So then it was only just making sure that the gentleman understood that he then needed to do what it said on the tin. Mm-hmm. And if he did, he could go forward with his life. And
when he came to us, he'd got a winding petition already on him, or at least, a bankruptcy order.
I think the HMRC were making noises about raising a petition, mm-hmm. but had not quite got there. Mm-hmm. But as you say, because he'd had a company that had gone into liquidation, mm-hmm. which had dealt with some of his portfolios, and there was an LPA receiver, a Law of Property Act receiver, mm-hmm. Also on the scene in respect of some of the property that he owned. Mm-hmm. It was becoming a situation that was really worrying and complex for him, mm-hmm. and that's why he quite rightly came looking for advice.
What may have been the consequence had he not done anything and gone into bankruptcy?
Well, if he'd gone into bankruptcy, then clearly that element of his business, which was him as a sole trader, mm-hmm. would then have, in the first instance, come under the auspices of the official receiver. Mm-hmm. The official receiver as a civil servant is really about avoiding risk, mm-hmm. and therefore their usual first thought is, do we need to close this business? You know, do we need to actually stop income streams because we're worried about liability on the trustee, etc. And obviously his ability to trade from that point or avoid the consequences of, for example, guarantees from his company businesses, etc., would have been greatly restricted.
And he'll have lost control of the properties as well, wouldn't he? He wouldn't have been able to have any input to the sale.
I think, well, I would imagine also that the charge holders on the various properties, upon bankruptcy, would have probably then appointed over all the other properties. So that asset base that we had the ability to then use to negotiate with would have been gone.
So the likely outcome would have been that possibly he could have lost everything, and also his sort of estranged wife would have
absolutely
been in a very much poorer position.
Absolutely. So I think while clearly she will have been worried by events in the run-up, it worked out very much to her advantage as well.